got some fabric with me. Missouri Star Quilt Company has sent us this whole cutting setup. We have a cutting mat, a rotary cutter, 8-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch scissors, a seam ripper, and some replacement blades. These are 10-inch by 10-inch generally. When I get down to the last scraps of my fabric, that's how I store them. I cut the last pieces up into 10 by 10-inch pieces, and I store them by color. So when Regina comes to me and says, these are the colors that I want, and this is what I want to make, I can easily go pull what I need for her. Pinwheels are going to be 4 inches when they're finished, so they're going to start out as 6-inch blocks. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut one side straight so I have a straight edge. Lots of questions about cutting. This is my acrylic ruler. Just came with a set. This is a pop socket, like what goes on your phone. Pretty snazzy. Pops up for a handle, pushes flat for storage, and it's pretty cute too. And on the back, I have some rubber stickers. Just put them on there, and it grips your cutting board so that your ruler doesn't slip. So I've got my pieces. I'm gonna line up on the 0. I'm putting some weight on my ruler with the left side of my body because I'm right-handed, and I'm gonna push away from me with my right hand. Now I'm gonna come down here to the 6, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna do this again. So the reason I'm cutting this side is because I didn't stack them neatly when I gathered them, so they weren't even, and I need them to be 6 inches even for when she sews them. We're gonna get our next stack, and we're gonna do the same thing. Put it on our mat right here, line up at the 0, 0, put some weight on your ruler with your body, and press with your right hand, or opposite if you're left-handed. And I'm gonna move my ruler over, line it up on the 6, because I'm trying to get 6 by 6-inch blocks. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all my story about the rotary cutter and mat. It was a disaster. I bought one a long time ago because as much cutting as I did, I thought, man, that would be life-changing. Bought it, and everything I cut was a hot wreck disaster. I decided that everybody who was using a rotary cutter was just lying to me, that they really were terrible, and I just wasn't doing it. Threw it in the garbage, went back to marking with a yardstick and a pen or a Sharpie, whatever, drawing my lines and cutting with scissors. Fast forward a few years, husband buys me a rotary cutter set for Christmas. And it was such a sweet gesture. I could not tell him what he bought was garbage, so I had to use it, right? So I pull it out and set it up 100% prepared for it to be a hot wreck disaster. And everything that I cut on it, it's like I've been doing it all my life. I don't know what the learning curve is, but there definitely is one. And if I understood what it was, I promise I would tell y'all. But I've had the same experiences y'all have had, and now it just comes natural. And I have had a lot of experience with the rotary cutter since he bought me one 5 years ago maybe. It really hasn't even been that long, but I cut on it every day. But even when I first got it, I was much better than the first one I bought myself. Now I know that Miss Regina needs 160 pinwheels, but I also know that she's going to get 2 pinwheels out of every block that she sews. So I need 80 squares of color and 80 white squares. Everything that you will see me working with is quilt cotton unless I tell you specifically otherwise. That's what I keep in my shop, and it's what I mostly work with. Occasionally there'll be something else, but if there's something different, I will tell you that it's a different fabric. If I don't say specifically it's something different, then you can assume it's quilt cotton. Lining it up, holding my ruler, pressing down. I'm pressing down with my right hand and away from me. This is a tool. This tool will hurt you. It is a round razor blade is all it is. So when you're done with it, you will always see me, if I lay it down, putting the guard up. Pick it up and take the guard off. Because I used to not do that, and this one time, I was cutting some stuff on the floor, and I got up and left the room, And when I came back, I walked into it, and I'm pretty sure that blade went all the way to the bone in my big toe. From that moment forward, I always close it. I was in the middle of a class one night, standing here doing what I'm doing. Somebody called my name, and I looked up, and I ran this rotary cutter over the tip of my finger, cut the tip of my finger off. But it was just like, was the top of the fingernail and the very tippy top of the finger. And I called my husband, and I said, I don't want to be dramatic, but I just cut the end of my finger off. I'm okay, but can you come and bring me some gauze because it won't stop bleeding? And he said, well, do you need to go to the emergency room? And I said, well, I don't really know what they can do for me. So he comes up here, wraps it in gauze, I hold it over my head. It bleeds forever. I thought it was never gonna stop. Finally stopped bleeding. Lesson learned. When you're cutting, eyeballs on your rotary cutter and on the cutting mat. We do not look anywhere else. Now we've got Regina's 80 colored squares cut. Now I'm gonna cut her 80 white squares. My name is Tammy. I'm your favorite sewing teacher, and I would love for you to come sew with me.